Thanks for having me out. My name's Peterson. I've been in the supply chain logistics industry for the last 15 years of my life. I've held every position there is to hold, from small package cells all the way up to charter airplanes for Honeywell Aerospace and many of the aerospace industry. My wife and I were blessed with an amazing blessing of not being able to have kids. And through infertility, we went out and sold shipping containers on the side on Craigslist in order to pay for infertility. In the process of successfully having kids, twins, a boy and a girl, and a 3-year-old boy, or a 5-year-old boy, we decided we would pay forward this amazing gift. I have owned 9 companies, not because I wanted to, but because I had to through the process of really fast growth. We brought on 4,630 agents in 23 countries, speaking 47 languages, selling shipping containers on a platform that I built. It's an apprenticeship type platform. We have licensed the platform under a group called fulfilledby.io, and Fulfilled by Us is the brainchild of a lot of problems that are going on in the world right now. The biggest one that we have seen recently is Jeff Bezos bought 20,000 commercial vans and is currently looking for drivers. And so I'm going to discuss that, why I believe that you should put a container next to your shipping home, or why you should put a container next to your home and fulfill from it last mile services to the end user. Go and go to the next slide. Oh, you might have the old slide. That's okay though. Here's the problem that we have in the world right now is the foundation is built basically for the retail market. You may have heard of something called retail apocalypse. There's 1,568 large branch retailers that have gone out of business. Currently in our retail segment of business, there's 16 million jobs that are currently at risk in that retail segment. If you take out 3 of the retails that I believe are harder to change into the Amazon way of retail or online retail, that would be the car industry, health and wellness industry, your practitioners that retail, and then also food and beverage is a little bit difficult, but we are seeing that go. You're still about 12 million jobs. We currently are at 3%, 3.5% unemployment. You see a lot of unemployment, but the baby boomers are currently 10,000 are retiring every single day or achieving that age of retirement. And so I believe that 28% of the baby boomers say they don't have enough money for retirement right now. Well, 57% say they don't have enough money, but 28% we know don't have enough money for retirement right now. So you take a container, you solve a couple of problems. You take a container, you do the supply chain solutions through futurizing the inventory or whatnot. So in essence, Nike, you can go on and forecast where they probably all their shoes sell. You then load up all your containers into about 100 container locations that are spread out around the different states from the United States. You deliver next to a person's house in a 20-foot container. 20-foot containers work for code. It's 160 square feet. It can be under 200 square feet next to your house. For most HOAs, as long as it's behind your fence, and if you have other metal requirements, there's cladding for the outside of the containers. You then fulfill the containers out of the containers. Inside the containers right now are built studios. In the future, in 2021, when containers are a billable product, they can be built out as homes, but we do have some construction code things we run into. Can you go to the next slide? So value pitch, we've built the cleanest end-to-end supply chain solution company in the world, we believe. I'm the only person that has been on the river with a barge on 3 different continents that I'm aware of. You can put 256 truckloads into a barge push down the river, and then you can fulfill the containers right from our own infrastructure in America, which is the IONA intermodal river system and the intermodal railroads. There's roughly 1,138 locations. Those would be our master locations where the containers would come into via the river or the rail. They would then be delivered out via the drayage trucks to then the people's houses next to their things. So the old model, or this is our model, how it works. And so up there at the very left is farm, overseas or mining from the ground. Then the materials go inside of a container truck. If you've ever been overseas, it is a container. It's not a box van like we see here. It's a container truck. Goes to a manufacturing facility, back into a container, over to the port, comes over to us. back into the container, into your neighborhood, right next to your house, just like our logo shows there. And then somebody goes on and they purchase off of a marketplace. There's roughly 220 very popular ones and about 1,600 not so popular ones around the world, but they're all growing. Somebody goes on and purchases, and then it polls via the internet which location is the closest. You then fulfill maybe 3 houses down, maybe 3 miles away, but it gives you the cleanest opportunity. And then that last person there is one of our agents from our previous models that we sold 30,000 containers in roughly 3.5 years from our companies. And so we need to use these empty containers for additional storage and basically fulfill them out to the final mile. So our go-to-market. So up there on the left slide right there, we have our own proprietary software that we've built. It's my 4th platform that I built. We've combined one previous, and then I had exited 2 prior companies. I currently have about $254,000 of my own money into this startup, along with a carry forward from one. I had 5 exits and 1 was unsuccessful, and I have a carry forward loss from that I'm going to be rolling in as well. The river system, I went over that a little bit, and then container building blocks. So in 2021, the ICC has allowed containers as a buildable product. You can then build out the 20-foot units into your building blocks of what you'd want to build a city. They don't have to look like containers, which is a big complaint I have when I go and I work at city boards. And so they don't have to look like containers on the outside. They look like all sorts of things, but I really believe that containers would be a building block. You can build a 4,200 square foot home in Asia for about $37 a square foot. That doesn't include the land. And when you bring it in, and then if you put freight inside of it, it's all the better. So if you want to go to the next slide. Competitors. So we all know a lot of the companies that are out there, but I'd like to look at the competitors because there's a lot of opportunities for entries and exits, I believe. And some of them of which I've researched along the ways as well. So it's interesting that 4 years ago when Craigslist or Facebook started shutting everybody off on Facebook, they started shutting off users if you put in www.doterra.com or whatever it was. They shut people off. At the time, I had about 390 agents that had their first child and just had their second child, and all of a sudden their accounts were getting shut off. And all of a sudden everybody said, oh, the one thing in common we have is My Mini Casas, so it's My Mini Casas problem, and they're all hacking our accounts. Amazon started Amazon had the same thing happening on their Facebook platforms. And so that's when you heard Jeff Bezos first come out with his platform of having a Facebook because it's so important. Amazon, as much as they're a competitor, I believe they're also probably somebody that would utilize our model. I believe that aside from Amazon started small package, we started a little bit larger. Wayfair is a more target client for me, just because our drivers, we currently have 27 drivers that deliver in trucks and containers. You can go deliver 3 couches and then hit a container if you did a delivery rather than it being next to someone's house. And so I believe that Wayfair or House, the bigger, bulkier design good products, are probably more of what our competitors are right now in the marketplace. FedEx has their own fulfillment as well. Amazon charges about 69 cents per cubic foot per month. FedEx charges about 80 cents per cubic foot per month. A 20-foot container has 1,166 cubic feet in it. So that's roughly $800 that you can save just in having a container next to your house to fulfill out of versus having it at FedEx or Amazon. UPS as well, they have a supply chain solutions. They bought a lot of companies like Menlo and TNT and a lot of groups looking for a way to compete with Amazon as the growth continues to happen. Currently, Amazon makes up 6% of the total retail market for online. And CMA CGM right there just bought Siva, a freight forwarder. I believe that we'll see more ocean liners buy freight forwarders to move inland, sort of like this model may be. I have a good relationship with Maersk's CEO, and he's one of my prospects that I would use in this process as well. Go ahead, next slide. Our team consists of myself. In my industry, you already heard a lot about me. My attorney and head of staff is Steve Sumption. He speaks Mandarin Chinese, and he's worked out multiple IP solutions with us. My wife is an amazing person at PR development. She'll send everybody that she knows a Minky blanket for their birthday just because they snuggle up to it. We've recruited eBay's face of eBay for 6 years. Her name's Teresa Cox. She's on several commercials for eBay and Amazon. She does seller groups. She's been on over 500 podcasts. And then also David Liu, who's the right-hand man of Jackie Chan. He's on the team as well.
See if you can finish.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Talk faster.
Yep, I thought that was the bell to go off. So anyways, so that's the last slide I have there. I did send an updated slide, though, that has my financials and everything on there. But